found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas, and we have wonderful guests. And I have a fun-loving returning guest who is giving us future predictions, and she has a very high degree of accuracy from remote viewing. She's psychic. She's an author. She's a little bit of everything in the metaphysical world. So let me bring Jenny Lee on.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Good.
I heard we got hit with another big CME here today.
Oh yeah.
Now today, I feel actually pretty good, but the 2 days prior to today, I was like having to drag myself around. I felt like I weighed a ton of bricks, and every little thing seemed exhausting. But thank goodness that's passed. And now, I don't know. It's probably all related to the energies. It seems like that hits certain areas at different times or whatever. I don't know how it works, but
yeah, I think each person is impacted a different way.
At different times. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
It is.
So, and like today, I feel energetic.
Right. It was funny. Yeah. So what do you want to start with? And then, because I'm sure there's a lot of subjects.
Well, there's a ton of subjects, but well, one of the pressing subjects that's a lot is going on about right now is related to the sound of freedom. I don't know if you want to go there right away.
Oh, yeah, I can go in there because I work with missing persons, and so I have personal experience with all that. So
that's fantastic. So
yeah, so they're both good guys, and I think they're concerned with the guy who bought the film or produced the film, and he had where they got the funding.
I think it was the funding.
Yeah.
It was a guy who was known to be a drug dealer, I think.
Right. Okay. But another thing I thought about that is like, well, maybe again, you think that there's a lot of pedophiles out there, and he might have dealt with a pedophile situation. So you never know a person's situation. So it just blows my mind how they try to discredit people and what they're doing. They're trying to discredit this whole movie and what it means. And it's just a program out there that's trying to do that. And it's not working because the more they discredit, the more it's getting more popular and people are asking more questions. And the more you resist it, they make us resist wanting to see it. More people want to see it. I'm just telling you.
That's absolutely true, because I had a friend from Hollywood that used to tell me, she used to, be on Broadway, and she was out in the Hollywood area when I lived near there. And I said, well, in Hollywood, every knock is a boost. Mm-hmm. So the more they knock it, the more it boosts it, because people want, well, I got to go see this, kind of thing. But what irritates me is that the most important part of it is it's bringing to light something that most people do not even acknowledge or believe exists.
Yeah, and that movie is a soft disclosure. And I was like, yeah, this is way soft compared to what's going on really that I've seen graphic pictures. So I'm like, yeah, if they're freaking out that, then I'm sure there's a adrenochrome film coming, and that should make them run to the bathroom and want to throw up. So, I mean, it's a disclosure of revealing in a conscious way, but they're not going to be able to avoid it. You're not going to be able to avoid going to the movie and thinking you're not going to be able to admit the truth, because all of humanity has to admit what they allowed to happen to the innocence of this planet. They're each a part of returning.
Goosebumps. You're
That's
speaking
what I'm
truth.
saying. So you have to be present and knowing that you weren't present. It's a very important part of that. So, it's just something that I think, especially the normies, need to go see and get them to be a little bit of their eye opening a little bit, even though it's hard. But this starts peeling the banana towards a direction of knowing. So it's a good thing to bring your normie people to the theater and see their reaction, or if they don't react at all, who knows? So yeah, it's a movie, and I feel it's going to be on top of the charts for a long time.
I do too. And it just keeps, more and more people are seeing it all the time. Now, I have a short little clip by Jim. How do you say his last name? Caviezel? Is that it? Caviezel?
I don't know. I'm not looking at anything around it right now. I couldn't tell you their last names.
Oh, the actor that plays the Tim Ballard.
Mm-hmm.
But you see both of them as good guys.
Yes, and the thing is, he knew they were going to come out as soon as they put that movie out. They were going to discredit him. That's just like a given.
Yeah.
Because you have to understand what it's doing. It's getting people to focus on the pedophiles. It's getting them to tune into the situation, and then the pedophiles will be the ones hunted. That's what they're afraid of. That's what's going to happen to this, because they should be, because they hunted our kids.
Exactly. And because they're not just pedophiles, they're pedivores.
Yes.
And that part we haven't even addressed yet, because it's so
Right.
horrific.
Yeah.
So let me play this little part. I think you'll like it. I think the audience will like it. It's kind of on this subject. And the Jim Caviezel, however you say his name correctly, it's him speaking about the film. So let me just play it.
My fellow Christian warriors, set yourselves apart from this corrupt generation. Be saints. That is the freedom that I wish for you. Freedom from sin. Freedom from our weaknesses. Freedom from the slavery that sin makes out of all of us. That is the freedom that is worth dying for. Kind of reminds me of the words that Mel Gibson first intoned in his Academy Award-winning film Braveheart, when he said to his ragtag army, and I say to you tonight, I see before me a whole army of my countrymen here in defiance of tyranny. You've come to fight as free men, and free men you are. What will you do without freedom? Will you fight? No! Yep, fight, you may die. Run and you live. Or at least a while. Dying in your beds many years from now, would you have been willing to trade all the years from this day to that for one chance? Just one chance to come back here and tell our enemies that you can take our lives, but you can never take our freedom. Every man dies. Not every man truly lives. You. We must fight for that authentic freedom and live, my friends. By God we must live, and with the Holy Spirit as your shield and Christ as your sword, may you join Saint Michael and all the angels in defending God and sending Lucifer and his henchmen straight right back to hell where they belong. upon us. But not without Jesus, our rudder. And in the words of Reagan, evil is powerless if the good are unafraid. God bless you.
Stay in the light, as I say.
Yeah, stay in the light. As a little religious oriented, but anyway, the point is freedom is not free.
Yeah. You have to earn it, and you have to establish it and keep it, and never put your guard down and think that it's always going to be there. And that was the problem.
Where do you see the status of where things are now? Spirit, your connection to spirit.
Well, I hear the U.S. Treasury tax collector funds have gone bankrupt. Yay, yay, yay,
Yes.
yay.
Yes.
So and that is something off everybody's shoulder, the mafia tax people. So, and that's a good thing. And a lot of people, you'll notice, they haven't been getting letters, haven't been getting any notices. Possibly state, but I don't think you're getting feds. So that's a good thing. And I know that the White Hats arrested over 14,000 people.
14,000?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, I read recently too that 19,000 indictments are sitting and waiting for doctors and nurses that participated in the push.
Yeah, well, let me tell you,
program.
You did this to somebody, you need to have consequences for what you did. It may be a different gun, but you did point the gun and give them no choice to do it. That's what I don't like. And crying or playing victim after you did that, it will not get you anywhere. Playing stupid will not get you anywhere. You did this against humanity, period.
And there was enough information out there that even if you made a mistake initially, you could have corrected it very quickly.
But you stood by and watched.
And continued to push it.
Exactly. And there are some that stand up and said, I will not be a part of this. I will not be involved in this. I believe it's wrong. And those ones are good-spirited people that said, I can't. But then those are the others that just said, I am the sheep and I will follow. So no. That's what? Didn't do any good. And you have to wonder, sorry, tossing and turning every night, hear out. Anybody that's done any espionage, done anything against crimes against humanity, karma's coming to your door. And your nights that you get to sleep are very, very short time. Like within the hour, or it could be within 24 hours, or it can be a week. But eventually it'll come. It'll mark your door. And it's coming. There's no place to hide.
The truth is
coming in the cities. Period.
Nothing can stop what's coming, and that's the truth is coming, and it's coming forward on a rather rapid pace. Yeah.
So the thing is, it's just to do that, and then this is what I say to people that did that, and thinking, how do you explain that to Creator? Hey, I did the shot and thought it was okay at the time. But the thing is, your conscience is not there. Your fear takes over, and you're not allowing the spirit within inside you to reside in the truth. You're giving in to the evil. It never pays. And the thing is, the evil should know. There's not been one war they have won, because the light always conquers it. At the end, the light will always win. At the end, Creator will always win. No matter what. Because what resides in us that works for the light is the most powerful thing ever that is connected to Creator. It will always win. There will always be a battle, but the light will always win.
And that's definitely true. But that doesn't mean those of us who are of the light or a piece of the light are supposed to sit back and just wait for other
Right.
people to
Right, exactly.
stand up and do whatever. That is a requirement of every single one of you out there.
Right.
You have that divine spark, you should know, and you should be helping right now.
Yeah. So that's the whole part of this, is the fact that there is no place to go anymore. They can't hide anywhere. You know, there's going to be one last spot, and that's going to be the cities, but then they'll find you. And they're going to.
And that's why they have strategically placed military and potential hotspots as more and more truth comes out, because they can't hide this much longer. In fact, it's starting to burst at the seams already.
Well, the thing that you haven't seen yet, they're seeing this, they're soaking in this movie, but there's going to come to a boiling point. And every human nature, there's a point that an animal, a human can take, and then the hunt is on.
Exactly. And that's really going to happen because Mel Gibson is coming out with the next tier. And Louis Herms came out with a documentary called Cages as well. And as more people become aware, there's going to be righteous anger. There's no getting around it.
Right. But I think in this day and this time right now, I would really be rattling in my boots if I was working for the wrong side right now, because you can see what the light is doing and how it's taken over and how it's dominating things and how everything is being exposed, and it's coming, and it's going to annihilate the negative. So yeah, that's part of it. So, everybody's talking about let's go switch a little to the finance. And I think kind of like the last week of July, because I never got that first, I told you I didn't feel that first, but I think we're down to a situation where we're going to jump off the cliff, which means the fundings have to be there. There's no more to go. And it has to be funded. It has to be implemented no matter what. So I say that last week in July, it's not going to go past that.
What do you mean? What's not going to go past?
It means there's a certain point that things can, because the old government's already bankrupt. Corporations are bankrupt. So you have to understand it has to grasp to something to hold this world. And I'm telling you, it's that last week, which is possibly next week, that it has to rebalance itself, flip, reinstate. It's like our world doing a 180 completely. It's going to happen. So yeah, it's soon now. And I feel that energy, which I tell you that it's not something where it's a date with me. It's a balance of energy that I feel a force with it. And I feel it building, and it's at a good point right now, but there's this extra buildup that I feel that needs. And once that is, I'll hear it. And then I told my people in my group, I'll tell them when I hear that verification, just like the night of the election on 2016 when that happened. So same voice, the same frequency, and the same result will be good.
Okay. I guess some people are saying I saw Cages, but I didn't examine it real closely. I know I missed parts of it, but I noticed that in the comments here, some of the people are saying it has huge problems, and I'm not sure. You might want to be more specific if you'd like to discuss that further.
Cages? What cages are they talking about?
Cages, it's a movie put together by Louis Herms. It's supposed to be documentary, and it's about the state of Arizona, which I reside in, and I shouldn't even use that word. I live on the land in Arizona.
Okay.
That shouldn't be a problem anymore, though, if the corporation is really
Right.
bankrupt, which would bankrupt all the state ofs, wouldn't it, as well? Because that's a corporation too.
I believe there's only one judge that's making the decisions right now. So it's a humanity judge.
Okay.
Just saying. So,
right.
Like I said, you're talking about, dealing with the medical facilities and stuff like that, and all that. You got to understand, for all those to be prosecuted, those doctors and nurses, there'll be a big impact, but also there'll be something to fulfill that. I just talked to my cousin today, and she had a boating accident, and of course the hospitals are like, "Oh, you got to have surgery. You got to get infusions. You got to do this." And I said, "Don't you do a dang thing. Go get cryotherapy, get the inflammation out of there. Your body has a natural way of healing. If you can hold on a little bit, that's going to be the best thing you can do."
Last thing you want to do now is go into the hospital.
Right. You won't come out. As they say, we're going to take as many with us as we can. That's what they said. So,
and what's amazing about that is the people that are actually working with them to do that sort of thing. People you think you could trust.
Mm-hmm.
Like your doctor, like your pastor, like your government agency.
Yeah, all of them.
You can't trust any of them.
None of them. You might as well just look at it and push it all away and go, I'm starting over. I'm starting to see things on my own, do my own research, make my own decisions. Just say, you know what? Starting from scratch again. We're going to just cut all that out and start over. It's just the best way to do it. Because it's a situation. That's what it is. Because when you can disconnect all that, your mind's not worried about what it is anymore, because you're like, I'm starting from a different conscience and looking at this a different way and seeing things, reading things, and asking questions and being observant.
Somebody's asking you when the disclosure happens and the normies start seeing people fall into the streets, what can we, the awakened ones, do to help? That's from Zeta Moda.
All you can do is, honestly, they need to crash and fall. And then as soon as they're done with their 20-minute dismantling, losing their mind phase, then you can lift them back up. And then you say, now, are you ready? Are you ready for the truth? That's what you just show them, just the truth. Not criticizing how normie they are, but just getting them into the information and finding a way to get the information in front of them. Big time. So that's the first thing you need to do. And then like I told you, you're going to have some that are just withdrawn, don't want to accept it, don't want to deal with it, liberals. And they're going to go very far on it, go mental on it, do all that stuff. Well, that'll just get you in a white bus, sent off to a psych ward. Just telling you.
Yeah.
Because that's what they used to do. You're going back to it.
It is pretty corrupt here in Arizona, and I will second that. And I don't know if you've done any remote viewing here, Jenny, but that could be interesting at some point.
Yeah, it is. That's right by the border. Everybody's bought and sold. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not good.
Yeah, there's a lot of places in the state that are, Maricopa County in particular. Okay, here's somebody saying that Vegas is a hot spot, and yes, it is. I would think Maricopa County is a hot spot too. And that's just guessing. I'm not saying that based on anything I've read or anything like that, but just knowing what went on.
And declaring that the jabs are a bioweapon from the get-go, from the beginning.
And it was planned out way ahead of time. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, just I'm saying, these doctors and nurses came in, oh, by the way, I got a bioweapon I'm going to stick in your arm, and I have no conscience about it.
Yeah. And whatever happened to informed consent in the first place?
Yeah, well,
They knew that those things were coming with blank sheets inside to the pharmacist, totally blank. And you're going to jab that in somebody? Seriously? Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, there are white buses with black windows, and there might be some that might not have a black window, but most of them have black windows. So
let's see. What about, do you have any foresight on the Nasara Gasara thing? Everybody
yes,
always wants to know about that.
that's what I was just talking about. It's at the end of the month on the 20th.
This month?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I was talking about. There's a certain point. You got to everything understand under 3D is collapsing. Like I told everybody, walk through the fire. And if it burns down, it's supposed to happen. And then there's something new that's in place of it. Now, the ambassador, well, I told you that Trump will never be president again. So you need to get that out of your head. The ambassador of the financial system is Trump, whether he comes an ambassador, whether it's a king title. But I'm just telling you, he's going to be in that position. Why? Because every country that works with that whole situation respects him and trusts him. See, the whole thing about that is trust. That's the way it works.
And he has loyalty.
Yes.
That's another thing he's gotten stabbed in the back so many times.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
But how do you perceive that? There's no more presidency, somebody else is going to fill the presidency.
That whole situation, that whole president thing is going to be a dismantling phase. It's no longer needed. We're going into councils and ambassadors, and that's the thing always going to happen.
That's what I wanted you to kind of take off on, because the presidency thing was based on a corporate structure, which has gone bankrupt and no longer exists. So people need to know what it's moving to, so that'll help reduce any fear, because we're so conditioned to think there's got to be an election, there's got to be this, there's got to be that. No, there doesn't. So tell us what you know about councils and so on, or what you're being told.
Well, with the councils, and that they've showed me always everything with different parts of the world, different parts of the universe, they come together as a council and agree upon the capabilities. And that's the whole thing, is not one egotistical one being making that decision. That's a 3D process. We're not in that process no more. You work as a collective together. And that's the whole thing. How I get my information and how I go up, it's never a one being process. There's a collective of information that comes in as it works together. That's the whole thing. They need to get out of this process. And that's where the ego steps in, and the narcissism. It's just, and so they're going to have to get used to the fact that is a decision made together as a collective of intelligence, of higher intelligence. That's the whole thing about this.
Okay. Here's a question. Here's another question for you. Did you have more to say? I didn't mean to interrupt
go ahead.
you. Oh. So Jenny, do you really feel that there will be a worldwide disclosure, or just country by country?
No, it is going to be worldwide. It is going to be, at first it'll be country to country, and then it's going to connect together as the information shows that connection. And I think you're going to be seeing that for like a whole year, and it's going to be put in your norming conscience until it's sinks in and says, okay, I got it. So the thing is, it's just part of the process that has to happen. And just like they programmed you hear and listen, and you got to hear and listen the truth for a long time to accept it.
Because you were conditioned to accept something that wasn't the truth.
Right.
You're stuck. It's like a broken record. You keep, even if you hear it the first time, you keep going back to the broken record, conditioning, subliminal, subconscious thoughts that you've just been programmed into. So it does take a while to break that. So here's
Right.
another question. Do you see the major flooding on the coast happening within the next 6 months?
Yes.
Are you
Yes.
looking at spring of 24?
No.
Oh, sooner?
Sooner.
Ooh.
I think it's before winter.
Oh my, fall. Oh, okay. So that's a yes. Okay, let's see if we got any more. 100, what? I don't get that one. I'm just looking for another question here. $129. Oh my goodness. Where is that at? Holy smokes. That's hot. I mean, it's hot here. It's probably about 104 or 102 today. I think it's a little less than.
So, while you're looking at that stuff, I did a writing on the giants, and then recently I got a download where they were talking about, because I had a cavern showing under Iran that they would have these giants, and this was 2.5 years ago.
Mhm.
And when I start something like that, I have to wait for it to finish in some way, and now that's come back to what it is. And in the center of it, I couldn't quite, I knew it was an energy, but they finally showed the form of it. And I had another student kind of look at it. She looked at it first, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's kind of the answer I've been looking for, to realize what it is. And so it goes back to, and I heard the word Pegasus. And this is the thing, when you have to read history or information now, you have to ask yourself, is this the truth? Did they change it and make it look like a different form, or is this the true story? You really have to analyze history now or digging more information up to back that up. So the thing is, and I always said that some of these giants worked with the gods that were smart and intelligent beings, because there are pictures of them but man standing besides man as a friend or an ally. That's at one time we were getting along with them, and now it's gotten to a point, and I'm sure it has to do with the Nephilims. But they say they're going to resurface. And the unreal is the real now. That's the whole thing that was trying to confuse you. All these movies and books and stories, they hid from you, and you think that it wasn't real when it was. And that's why I'm saying you have to analyze the information, do your own research, not Google it, and figure out what's going on. So anyway, this is an important part, because this has to do with that Holy Land, that part of that Holy Land process has to happen. Because I'm going to read this part to you that I did on a download. And I always go back to the downloads on what's going to happen and all that situation. So just you can talk while I find this if you want. So I want to find a certain area on this download.
Okay, well, I was just looking at some of the other questions that are up there, and one of them I can even address myself. It's about mental institutions. They give people no choices. It's very criminal. We need to be up in arms about those in mental institutions because they drug and destroy people, and that is very true. I worked at one for over a year, and I remember one of the things that stood out in my mind was people begging to go off the drugs and not being allowed to do so because they were drooling, or they had tics, or a lot of side effects.
It was all purposely done, magnificently done, to make them think that it's them. So
totally evil. And then,
let me read this to you, and this is several months ago, probably 6 or 8. How can something as beautiful as nature, like nature itself, can there be a city that interacts with everything? Can it be cleared and all of a sudden fast? So basically it's describing how nature and these futuristic cities will be side by side each other, you know, not apart from nature, but working with nature, having the respect of nature and having the respect of men going into these futuristic cities. There was an important part. But this is the part that that was important was under the Holy Land, they were talking about on the top, they have to release the magnificent creatures that have been put down into inner earth so they can fly again into the inner peace that has to be created here. So they keep showing me, you know, there's two of them that are connected. One's in our Antarctica area and then one's the Holy Land. And this really has a creator energy with this. So no matter what, there's going to be, there's the last stand, the last process is that Holy Land. There's that whole city that you see on top is not the original city. They cluttered all those churches and put them together. What was the history that's happening underneath the ground is the true history.
In the Holy Land you're talking about, right?
So there's going to be a last stand there that has to happen. And and we think that we're kind of involved, but we're not. I believe this is something that has nothing to do with humans, honestly.
Well, what creatures are you referring to? What kind of creatures?
Oh, what they look like when they refer to Pegasus.
That's a horse,
and that
right?
type of energy and that type of being that has that power of the light. And these can fly. And they're bigger. So all I can say, it's like they said, a magnificent creature. So
with
that's
creator energy, you said also?
With creator's energy. So, and then I told you about how the ley lines, and they're talking about that recently, the ley lines and the pyramids, those two have to be activated at the same time because those are connected to each other, is the ley lines and the pyramids. It's like coming online, you know, and don't be surprised when that does happen. You see pyramids come out of the ground that you didn't even know were there. And they didn't even know that were there because I did that drawing of that online system of all those pyramids around the world and how they're all connected. And there's 3 massive pyramids that start that process. And then the ley lines, there is something inside each ley line that goes on top of the pyramids. So they showed me that for a long time. And they're saying that is a process that has to happen.
What's going to make it happen?
Well, I think the internet changing and our history biblically on some of the stuff that's coming to the surface of the ground. Mm-hmm. That's going to change it. And they said every crumb, every ounce of evil is going to be obliterated from this planet. And I believe that there is.
And that includes inside the planet as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a lot of negative creatures inside the planet too.
And they talk about the gold pyramids too in the planet, shining lights in the sky. So the whole thing is, I mean, that's the problem is all of this unrealistic stuff that we've been taught is unrealistic, and now it's becoming the truth. Some normies are not ready for this process of information.
Well, they better get ready.
Yeah.
They'll get over it. That's the way I look at it. I mean, everybody acts like they're going to be so shocked, and yeah, they will be shocked. There's no doubt about that. But you know what? People adjust pretty quickly, really.
Right.
Be some that don't, but you know, that's maybe it was meant to be that way. Who knows?
So the volcano eruptions, which they're saying, when you talk about the storms, they're saying, Jen, the earthquakes, the water storms, the volcanoes, I mean, get ready for a rocky fall. Going into fall, September, August, it just feels very strong in those months. So, and they call it an activation mode of energy piercing. So, we're in that process, and it's like something not to fear, but it has to happen in this process that we're going through. Like I said, when I was talking to you, how that intel circle is so tiny now, and it's the truthers, and then you see everybody being replaced by you don't know what.
Yeah. Which guys? Is it the good guys replacing them, or is it the bad guys?
I had people go, well, who should I listen to? And I'm like, I don't have anybody for you anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, really. I know it's weird. It's very strange out there right now. Even doing shows or who to have on or what to bring forward when right now it's like there's a lot of same old and a lot of things that were supposed to happen that we're still waiting to happen. Somebody has asked in here, let me see, somebody said your sound was a little bit too loud. I turned it down a little bit, so if it's okay now, let us know. If not, let us know. Either way, let us know. Okay. Somebody's asking, do you have any information about Portugal?
Well, I don't have intel in the way of here. I can ask you there. So they're showing me, as I'm looking right now, they're showing me like tearing two areas apart. And so basically on the outside, they're saying that it would look like tyranny and a lot of stuff falling apart. They're saying like putting something back together, those pieces are starting to put together because the upper heads are not in charge in the way that you think they are, and something else is behind it. So you're going to see this like you kind of do here. As soon as something is brought down, you're going to start to see something new. So all I can say is the fact is, they're saying, look to your future days. It's going to change. The worries that you had from the past will not be the worries of today. And your soul will be valued in a different way that you will understand. You are here witnessing this truth at this time.
Yes. Somebody's asking, will JFK Jr. be coming out?
I don't think it'll be anything to do with a president or a vice president.
Okay.
I think he will hold a grand position, but it is not going to be the 3D process.
Okay. So what about the people that were supposed to come out from the witness protection program? What about them? Are they going to come out?
I think when they give them the green light, and then which is everybody that was supposed to be dead is not dead. List is what I call it, Yeah. So I do believe that that's going to happen. Yeah.
Okay.
Big time.
Let me see. I'm just looking to see if there's any other questions we might have over here. What about, while I'm looking, what about DNA upgrades? And where are we in that regard? And
this is the thing that I think I told everybody, that DNA doesn't matter. When we get into the 4D and the 5D, you have to understand your energy frequency, and it changes. Your spirit turns on to a different way. It's not of the flesh and the bone anymore. That is the strength. And I always tell people when I do humble healing, your spirit will always lead the body. You can never allow the body to lead the spirit. So those components that the flesh was in charge of will no longer be, because your energy will change in how your conscience leads you. It does not have the limited veil of understanding. The fear will be gone as well.
Okay. Well, here's someone asking these questions. Will there still be any internet? And what about blackouts? And if so, how long?
There still will be an internet when we tap into, but those are going to be like the same thing with the power. They're going to be rolling as things are turned on. But I will tell you, the longest outages you're going to see are in the inner cities. That's where they're going to push everything. And let me tell you, some of these minions, they can't live without internet or playing their Game Boy. And they can't use their cell phones. I mean, they're going to go, and these kids these days don't know what a war is, fighting is, because Vietnam War and going through all that treachery and all that stuff, that's war. Okay, but this is a different type of situation. They have no strength. They have no, how you say, stamina to stay in and day out in the trenches. There's just no way. They'll give in quick. So I'm just telling you, the kids these days are weak. They are very weak. They cannot go up against our Vietnam vets even.
Yeah. Well, speaking of a weakness, that weakness was created by the programs that they were required to take on as children. And if we went from a handful of those things they put in the arm to over 76, I believe it is, by the time they're a certain age, which is insanity. And now they're finding out there was even no such thing as a virus, and virus means poison in Latin. So much of what they've told us and so much of what they've done is so diabolical. People are just going to not even believe it. Not even believe it.
We are in interesting times, and to bear the witness, you're all here that's supposed to bear the witness. And so in the histories of what time that is and what dimension it is, the story will be told and written in stone again.
Somebody's asking whatever happened to Patty Brassard. She's just giving intel that never came to pass. What's up with that? A lot of times people, they don't know the intel that they got from someone. They don't know necessarily if it's correct or whatever. I would have to say that on her behalf. But I've also tried to be in touch with her, and she's not communicating at this time. So I don't know what that's all about. So. Then it says, will Vegas go when the dam breaks? Well, the dam is south of Vegas. So if you're talking about the Hoover Dam anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't think
Vegas,
that would have.
Well, Vegas is going to go in a different way anyway.
Vegas is kind of like Sodom and Gomorrah. I hate to say that.
Yeah, it's going to go down in a different way. Has to.
I wouldn't want to be there. I'll tell you that right now.
No, I would not either.
Okay.
So isolating the city again.
Let's see. Canada fires are plasma caused is the question. Are they being started? Do you know?
Oh yeah, I mean, I believe it's a last fight and stand and battle. They have no more money, so like I said, if we can't have it, we're going to make sure you don't, and that's what they're trying to do, but it ain't going to work.
It's not working. So here's another one. Are we almost done with major natural disasters? I don't think so. We're not, are we? Not even close.
Remember I said that this planet has to go into a hibernation stage.
What's that mean?
That means that what I was told, that they said 7 years they would go into a hibernation stage from all the damage that we have done, that we're going into this hibernation. And I'm not talking about the beings, but I'm talking about the planet itself. You can't damage and do what you've done to a planet and expect it to keep going. It has to, at some point, like everything else, it has to have its time to recoup.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to say this, we always make, not that there isn't room for improvement, but we always make people, they always make it feel like it's the average person that's causing all of this, when in fact these elite corporations and people that were in charge are the ones that led to the demise, and well, of course people just followed. I just suppose you can hold them accountable for that. But the way everything was so controlled, the finances were so controlled, and if you didn't play their game, you wouldn't be able to get anywhere. Thank God that's changing.
Right. Exactly. So, this whole process is, I'm telling everybody right now, and I'm telling you, just stand outside this plated glass and just say, I got to start over. I'm telling you, start doing it now, because you're going to have to do it anyway. And if you start looking at things a different way and analyzing them a different way, you're going to adapt to this pretty good. If you start trying to enforce a world that no longer exists and will never come back, it's never going to. You have
We're
to
not
go
going back to the previous normal, because it wasn't good anyway.
I know. It was just the fantasy that they fed you.
Exactly. Here's a question. All the people that are here on Earth right now are the people that are going to transition to 4D, 5D. What happened to the people that died now?
What I heard, and I do believe that now specifically, died as in the people that left. Are you talking about the souls that died in a sin? Are you talking about the souls that got the shot and died? Are you talking about the ones the conscience levels is not there and they went to another planet? I mean, there's varies of where'd they go. There are.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I should go there. If they didn't get the jab and they died, where would they go?
And they ascend.
Okay.
Into the 4th and the 5th.
Okay. If they did get that, where did
jab?
They go? Yeah.
What I hear and what they visualize, they show me there's the soul. And I always tell people that the soul and the body are two different things. And so, Of course, what you put through your system physically was bad. And then there's a spiritual side that wouldn't want to or allow anything to ascend and make sure that nothing parasitic or anything spiritual was left in a bad way. So I feel like their souls are examined and looked at and carefully made sure that they are going through a cleansing stage. And I'm talking about the souls that were forced upon. I'm not talking about the ones that are just pre-ass evil. You know what I'm saying? That's a different deal. So like I always say, I mean, the soul ascends better without the body. That's why it's so easier to disconnect the body and let the spirit ascend in a different way. The body is a limitation. So, and like I said, you're looking at two different realms, doing two different processes.
Well, there was a lot of information out there going around that said that this time the ascension process is different than it's ever been in the past. And it will be such that you can take your body with you.
No,
and that's what
I'm going to be so clear on this, you guys. That is full of shit. And the person that told you that, I'm telling them, I will say it to their face. They're full of shit. I've seen it. I'm telling you, when I go up there and see these documentation, follows the verification, you know me, sending energy, how it is. There is no physical body. And they said no blood, no bone, no water. Okay, that's not going. And I'd like to know who would want to take their body here with them. I wouldn't. I want to be
brought to a state of perfection of the original blueprint. Would that make a difference?
No. I mean, it's not about the body. It's not about the flesh. It is about the soul ascending, the soul intelligence, the soul's path. So from here out in the universe, just say a party and being a big part of the universe and a collective of energy of deciding what you're going to do from here out. Doesn't matter what your body's done. You made those choices and whatever they have done. You're not ascending. And that's why when you see spirits leave the body, they don't want it either. Animals don't want the body. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you. That is full of bullshit. It doesn't work like that. And I'll challenge anybody that does say that. I'm so sick of, I think Perez said that too. And I'm just like, no, that's not true.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there is that circulating out there. So anyway,
Well, it's
um,
false.
okay. What land is the Holy Land? Is it Iraq or Iran or where is it?
Well, no, they show me. Okay, so what they ascending with, I saw those giants. So it leads up to the Holy Land. It leads to these trails underground that they showed me, and they showed me under the Holy Land how these little passageways are all connected too. So yes, so that's the whole thing. It depends on the country you're coming in, but they're showing me there's passageways going in and out of the Holy Land, going to these other countries.
Wow.
And they showed me that, and they showed me the sound, how it smelled, how the water drips through it. I mean, that's what they were showing me, these giants ascending through, carrying devices, all this stuff. I saw it.
Wow. Okay, let's see. Somebody was, the Holy Land is connected. So it's somebody else was thinking, is the Holy Land Israel?
Well, I mean, it is, because what's under it? The original city is under it. It's not the city that you guys see on top. It's what's under it. And if you see what they're digging up now and finding, historical stuff that was from other doors and other cities and everything else. I'm just saying, I look and they showed me how that whole city is on a hill and how they have all that. And they said, Jen, what do you think's under there? They're like, all the artifacts, all the truth is under the cities. So I'm waiting for them to start digging, and I've seen some stuff already. But it's there. The truth is underneath. Just like everything else in this planet, it's hidden, shoved underneath, shoved under the ocean, shoved under the ground.
Yeah, I don't know what they want. What's meant there? That energy, that's interesting that somebody said that when you were talking about that special energy and creatures and flying and so on.
Right.
Unicorns is what came to my mind as well. Horses flying.
Crypto is monopoly money. Get rid of it.
Here's somebody's asking if some of the mountains in Colorado, are they pyramids?
Well, I am originally from there. If there is one, it is one that I know of. So I'd say at least one of them.
Somebody said, well, I'm not sure what she's asking, what will change this year. Do you know what she's talking about? Will it change this year? I'm not sure what you're talking about. So if you have a question more specific, what change? So
I don't know what question you're looking at.
Which question?
Yeah.
Well, it was right. Well, here's one of them. Will it change this year? But I don't know what she's talking about changing.
I know.
That's the only problem, because I looked before that too. Somebody asked about the 3-dayness. Is that true?
3 days is right. 3 days. And that's what I got over a weekend of 3 days.
Okay. What about how long, like phones and internet and that type of thing will be unavailable? What length of time?
Rolling. It's going to be rolling.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, you have the red states. It's not going to have the resistance. They're going to cooperate with everything. But in these blue states, it's defiant. And so there's always going to have man learn a lesson. There has to be an example of a city doing the wrong thing. And you're going to witness and see that example of what's going to happen. But at the end of it, they'll be tired and wore out and out of resources and out of food, and I guarantee you they will walk out of that city and be loaded upon that buses. Just saying. It'll be an example to look at.
Sounds like Washington, but no. There were so many, there was horrific things that were going on underneath the White House.
Yep.
And
so knows that to the very soil of itself needs to be dug up, because the soil, the pain and the heartache that has gone through those walls and the tyranny, that is something that needs to be remembered. So that, like I said, if there's ever a holiday that needs to be remembered, it is for the cries of the children that sacrifice themselves. And that is something they need to remember. They did sacrifice and suffer over and over. And that needs to be a holiday that is remembered of their souls in tyranny and living in that suffering. It needs to be known. It's important.
Wow. Okay. Here's another lasers coming out of the pyramids. Is that coming soon? Do you know anything about that?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There's an energy that goes into the ley line that goes up out of that. So that's getting in an activation mode.
Yeah, isn't there supposed to be a crystal cap on top?
Yes, and that's what's in the ley lines, and they showed me.
Oh, okay.
That's the whole thing. And it's separated when it needed to, but they said it's going to come out of the ley lines. And I live by one, and I'm telling you, I haven't been over there in a while because they're like, it's strong. And and that's the thing. I mean, there has been giants, there's been natives. Everybody tries to get around these ley lines, and they know there's a power force that's in there. Everybody wants to try to figure it out, know what they can do with it or anything. But that energy, like a magnet, will go back on top of those pyramids.
Oh, so it will on its own.
On its own. It does not need any assistance.
It'll just all of a sudden place itself on top of the
yes.
Okay, here we have, let's see what Dutchanese, this is just a comment, I guess. Dutchanese mentioned that the smoke might be created by methane gas being released. He got threatened and told to stop talking about it. Thoughts on this fog and smoke? Do you know anything about it, Jenny?
False. There's not going to be any gas released.
Okay.
They don't have any. It's been destroyed.
Okay. Rock and Fall Summer. In Atlantis, they use pyramid technology.
Yep.
Now, this technology, is that how they created free energy in the past? Through the pyramids and the ley lines?
It depends on the dimension that was here at that time. I mean, at that time, I felt that it was part, because those are like I did those remote viewing with Kimberly Palm and another friend of mine. And we saw these towers, and that those had energy sources. So in Atlantis. So I'm just telling you that that's part of it, because I saw it on above the water and then deep inside the water. So they knew how to manifest it and use it and give it direct source.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Let's see what this next one is. Okay. I can appreciate what she's saying here. It's so confusing with all these people being replaced. How do we know who and what is true?
Your instinct. I've been teaching people. Your instinct tells you, because when you're in front of them, you can see it in their eyes that they're not present, but also they're not present in sensing a soul. There's not compassion. There is narcissism. Me, myself, and I.
Okay. Let's see. What is it coming from all over the country? Is it being generated by weather manipulation, or
I believe it's coming from the inner earth. I believe there's stuff going on. Like I said, these volcanoes and things are going to change. So like I talked about, these plates that I see underground that are shifting, that's an important part of it. I mean, it's uncomfortable, but it's an important part that we go through. So when we are releasing things, and I'm going to say capsules of things, they're going to release in the atmosphere to a certain point. But I think things are being done very adequately.
Mm-hmm. This is just a comment. I'll put it up there. And somebody is Matrix Game Master says the methane coming out of the fault lines from heating under the crust.
The methane is coming out of the fault lines. Yes.
Oh, is that true? Okay. Have you got anything know any more about Antarctica and the red stone or the red?
I haven't, but that might be something I might remote view. I just need to remember to go into that. But yeah, it's something I can look at.
Okay, somebody's asking about Africa, if anything interesting events in store for Africa.
Well, I've been getting stuff on that, and I thought that Africa is a region. There's going to be a special kind of situation that's going to happen there, and a very, how do you say the word, awakening, but it's almost awakening to a place that is of the fruits and the goodness and the kingdoms in a different way. So I think Africa will be molding into this area that we'll want to see and want to visit and want to be a part of. I'm just telling you. A
paradise.
Yes.
In the making. Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Grounds are shifting for it.
That will be, the people in Africa certainly deserve that.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
So hurricane season is supposed to be intense this year with a lot of coastal floodings. Is that true?
Well, I've talked about these storms coming. Yes.
Yeah. Definitely, they're coming. Okay, here's a good question. How many people will be left when all the evil has been eradicated?
I think I gave you that percentage before, right?
I
asked you, and I told you, what is the percentage rate that's left of humans? 35%. 35% is left in humans.
So, okay, from that percentage.
What we have to understand and acknowledge that what you were given and fed, that we were in control of this planet, we weren't. There are many species under our crust of our ground and that have been living and actually staying away from us because they was like, I ain't have nothing to do with them till they get their shit together. So, I mean, you're going to start to see different, I think in a slow disclosure of that coming and seeing more of it and getting used to it. And it's just has to build a relationship there again. Wow. But, I like the fact of seeing different beings looking different and interacting with humans, because I'm going to tell you the prejudice thing is going to go out the freaking door with that.
Good. It should.
It'll kill it instantly.
So here's a question. Q has been reported that the UK is on yellow alert for another lockdown by the end of August with a disease that is bloodborne and up to 50% dead. Is that just some kind of fear porn?
Bullshit.
Okay. It's not going to happen, Lenny.
No.
Stuff's going to happen before that can happen. Okay, here's a, wait a minute. I hit the wrong button there. This question, are we infected with nanobots?
Or it depends. Well, I mean, how do I explain this to you? I think there's a certain percentage that are, and I think there's.
And if you did this, you're probably much more likely than anyone else.
Right. Exactly.
I know they're trying to, put it in the trails and food and all that, but I don't know how much of that is
I would
actually
tell you
true.
the more the inner cities, because they have control of what they bring into the cities. They only have a certain amount of choice. On the outer banks, the farms, they have more of a choice what they decide and what they put in. So, and then with the inner cities, with the cell towers, and I think a lot of that collective part of it is all combined in the cities.
Okay, somebody read this. I read the exact same thing about on Telegram today about Trump supposed to be arrested again because of January 6th, which is total BS right there from the very get-go. It makes me angry that those people are still being held in jail when that was, and they already know this, that there were all kinds of
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
provocateurs in there that, it's just.
Every time, you guys, come on. Every time they say it's going to happen, it's not going to happen.
They're just trying really hard.
Desperation.
Yes. He thinks he knows it all, right? Who thinks he knows it all? I think you'll be. What do you have? What's your opinion of Trump? We
Wow,
have people here. Somebody just said he thinks he knows it all. Okay, so
okay,
I
this is the thing that you need to understand. A lot of what Trump was kind of chosen inside him before he was even here. I didn't pay attention to him. I didn't get involved in anything in the politics until Spirit said, "Hey, watch this being, not person, but a being." And this is the thing. It's a veil of understanding. His veil of understanding sees way outside the box. And that makes other people feel uncomfortable. And that he takes his own path, goes his own direction, and that makes people feel uncomfortable. He is not controllable. You cannot buy or sell him. And that makes you feel uncomfortable. And it makes you feel uncomfortable that he's insulting, but he's truthful. And you either by now at this process have figured out who he really is, and you're going to understand what he has done and what he has saved at the end of this. And all that programming that they put on TV and all that process will mean nothing, because you're going to know deep inside who he is, because he will be the one standing by you at the end of this. And let me tell you, if there's a war, I would walk through fire with that man before I would ever walk through fire with that puppet they got going on.
I couldn't agree more, Jenny.
So it is a veil of understanding to look at him as his true intentions, and his past has spoke to that. Again, you're listening to the media and bringing these stories, and they were fine when he was thought that he was controlled. He's not controlled. He will stand in his own path because he has a conscience of understanding.
And he has integrity.
Yes.
Excuse me. Okay. Let's see. What's this one? Jenny Lee. Have you experienced AI try to hack into the brain and compose things from the brain's organic thoughts?
No.
No.
Impossible.
Okay. Fed now, trust this or what? Will we go out of 30D and have money? You can't trust the Fed now. That's my opinion. Or you can tell them yours.
Okay, what Fed are you talking about? Fed now.
That's the new monetary so-called system. Digital.
They have no more money.
They're broke. They're bankrupt.
Yeah.
And it hasn't really shown that much yet, but it's going to start showing real soon. People aren't going to be getting the paychecks, as I understand it.
It's showing a lot.
Yeah. Okay, let me see what else we got here. Well, somebody, this is very easy to answer, I think, in so many ways. So many of our young adults seem so lost. It's like they've been brainwashed, especially under 30. What happened? Do you know how many of these they get now? That has a lot to do with it. They've been dumbing these poor kids down to something awful. And parents have been sitting back and letting them give them shot after shot after shot after shot after shot.
So the thing is, it's all about reprogramming. I mean, you have to reprogram them. And that's the problem. They give it an idea, or your education system's going down. They're part of the problem.
Exactly.
The liberal education system, I call it. And that they're going down. And
passion for these kids.
Yeah. And so the thing is they've been processed and pushed agenda, and they don't even have time to take a break from it and just shoving it up their asses. And so what it needs to become to a balance of giving them that time, and then slowly unraveling a new path of going in a new direction and letting them build the trust in again. Just telling you, it has to happen.
And well, okay, this one said, is that the one here? Oh, I read that one already. Sorry. There was something else that I was going to say about the kids, because it's not CPAP machines. I'm not sure what that is even. But what I was getting at here, let me go back to if I can find it. The brainwash about the people under 30. Not only do we have this problem, that's just one problem. The other problem is this.
Yeah. Sorry, but it's, I'm just serious. You can't function. You know what I'm saying? You know what's funny? This is the truth. When things go down, these parents that stuck their children in front of the phone, in front of the computer, in front of the game system, we have nothing. Now we're going to drive you crazy, because that has been their teacher, that has been their educator, that has been their parent, that has fed them. And now you're going to be stuck with a child or adult doesn't know what to do, doesn't know where to get their information, doesn't know listens to the TV,
I hope child abuse doesn't get out of hand.
I'm just telling you, you're going to have to interact with them. You're going to have to talk to them. You're going to have to read to them. You're going to have to explain things that you were raised on, that you did not raise him on or her on. You're going to have to talk to them.
And that is a communication that's been missing, that has been detrimental to the family unit, that will actually bring people together to, you're going to have to sit at the table and eat together, and you can speak together when you eat together, and you can also read together, play cards together. You can do things that people used to do before all this technology took over. And it's not like I won't miss it either, because I know I will.
Right. So the thing is, it's just literally what you were raised on and how your parents communicate with you. You're going to have to do it. There is no easy out. You got to be a parent now. And you're going to have to teach them to function without technology. And it might be the most humble thing that you can do for them.
And it might not be that easy, because there's an addiction there that will have to be broken.
Yes.
So get ready for that. Plan ahead. Know that this is going to eventually happen, and have something, have some idea of what you might do to
books, board games, reading, DVDs, art. I know what the heck. Go outside for once.
Oh yeah, all those old-fashioned things.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, somebody mentioned was surprised about the 7 years of hibernation.
That's what they said. That's what I channeled. And like I said, documentation will follow that verification, because some point you have to really look back and understand that it has to recoup, and we cannot be on here as it does. So it won't be us doing it. That's what they've said.
Where will we be?
We'll be on another planet.
And is it going to look like this? And we're going to think we're here, but we're not here. What?
People think it's and think that that's such a hard process, and it's not. It's a process of, as you go to sleep and as your body and your soul rests, and you come in, and it's almost like you're going through the process of death, and you don't feel anything. You don't feel your body. You're not aware that things have changed. It's not a hard process.
Okay. Somebody's asking, why do we have a moon?
It's a big TV that watches you. That's all it is.
Surveillance. And it used to also transmit energies down here for mind control, from what I've heard in the past. Here's another question. What is the planetary health, and how do you discuss the health of a planet and its needs?
Well, the best way to start from the ground up. You look at things in levels that need to be fixed in levels, and then look at what is sick, what water is sick, what plants are sick, air, quality, everything. And then, one that's mad is you need to let the whales be free. Your zoos need to go away. That, for your entertainment, is not good. Okay? Those are creators' beings, and they were not meant to be tied into a containment for your entertainment. That is not fair in any spiritual way. In any dimension, do I ever see them do that? So it's something that needs to change in the way we see animals completely across the board.
Well, people got an attitude toward animals like they're less than.
They are not.
And they're not. That's right.
No.
Okay. What about the solar wave or flash? Is that still
non-existent, not going to happen, 3D process?
Okay, so that's BS then, is what you're saying.
Yes.
So, but we are going to transition to a higher frequency.
Yes. Yes.
But it's not going to be the result of the flash.
No, the flash is a 3D fear porn program. Love to put you in fear. They love to trigger the left brain.
Somebody's asking this. I don't know the answer to this question. Maybe you do. Wasn't the moon called Sin before? I've never heard that one.
I haven't heard that one, but I do know it's like a big telescope. So I tell people now, just look up at the moon and flip it off. So and I've heard about the moon being replaced, and you would have to look at history and look how things looked that maybe 50, 60 years ago to what they look now. And we know the sun's been replaced.
Well, somebody is mentioning Kevin Abernathy says every cell in your body was replaced in the 10 years, newer ones according to your intention and consciousness. If you're watching this, congrats. You're moving up on up. All right.
So every cell in your body was replaced in 10 years. Newer ones according to the intention of the conscience. If you're watching this, true.
I don't know how we can answer this one. My sister-in-law died of cancer, but she was jabbed. Is she stuck? Being jabbed can give you turbo cancer.
So that is dying,
It's a result of that.
Yeah, it's off of a sickness.
Okay, here's another one. Do you think souls can and so split?
No.
What does that mean? What do you mean can and so split?
They don't split.
Okay. I don't even know what they mean. Okay. Do you see there will be a big enough jolt most will wake up? Or you
Denial will be a good 10 years on a lot of people. But you know what's going to get their all attention? It's going to wake them up? Money. When all their needs are met, they'll wake up because that is something they'll want to be a part of. They don't want to miss that. I'm just telling you, that'll be it.
That's totally 3D thinking, isn't it?
It's true.
Okay.
But it is, well, you're looking at 3D process, 3D veil of understanding, and they're going to see it in that process.
Okay, here's one for you. Ismail Perez and Honey said we are taking our bodies.
Full of shit. And that's Honey Boo Boo. And she's already in hot water on a bunch of stuff already, so I don't even want to go into that. And her predictions are just, oh God. So no, and I would tell Ismail to his face, and he knows that. So no, I don't agree with his answer on that. I definitely know anything what Honey says. I do not believe in anything she says.
Ooh, okay.
Let's not go down that road because it's just pathetic on that one.
Okay, let me see where we left off on the questions here. So if we're going to 4D, do we have to die? Is that what you're saying? Because of this bodily change?
You just wake up somewhere else. It's almost the same as, when I do mediumship, the soul, it says the first thing we notice is there's a numb feeling. You don't feel a body, you just feel this energy flowing. It's the same thing, but you're going to a different place. You're not getting trapped in the matrix circle anymore. You're going to a more enlightened realm, and you're going to make a choice there. You're going to be in transition for a while and figuring things out and knowing how powerful your conscience is and know how to use it in this universe.
Well, we've been so dumbed down and so made to feel little. Many of us don't even know how to play big because we've been so limited and conditioned to believe that we're limited. So we have to work on the programs and delete them and replace them with better programming.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, so isn't hell the 4D?
No. It's a transition phase. It's a learning phase. It's a learning the conscience phase. It's understanding how your conscience works and how you see in 5D, you're in the presence at the moment. And as you are in the moment of the conscience, you can make things create instantly. There is no past, there is no future. It is an existence at the same time, being many particles in many ways in many realms.
I think we mentioned this already. I don't know if people come in late. Is the RV to happen before or the financial crash?
The RV and the financial crash is going to be about the same within hours, probably.
Okay. Somebody just mentioned, Sage says, wow, did anyone just hear a siren? I didn't. I don't know where you're at. Maybe you were. Where were you at? Oh, she's saying, oh my God, too.
They must have saved the dog.
Is XRP going to be? All right. Well, you know what, Jenny, we're coming up on an hour and a half, if you can believe that already.
Yeah, let us see Benelli real quick. Come here. This is Benelli.
Aw.
Isn't she? She's a good one. Oh, she just likes attention.
Yeah.
Golden retrievers.
I love golden retrievers. They're the best.
And I know you got your
I had a blonde one once. Somebody stole it.
They're lovers.
He jumped the fence, and somebody must have found. He was beautiful too. Absolutely beautiful. Oh wow! So, real quick here, Jenny Lee. I just heard a siren go off on this live stream. What was that? On this live stream?
Hmm.
It didn't happen here where I'm at. Yeah, that's weird.
She wants her treats. Yeah, so I mean, people know how to contact me, and I'm getting a lot of clients right now that are opening the veil of understanding and coming in and going, I need to talk about this stuff because I don't want to talk about it in an open platform, and they're ordering readings so I can give them descriptions where I see them going, what's going to happen, where I see their soul ascending to, all this stuff that it's capable of looking at and giving them a path they need to go in and feel secure about themselves. So,
Okay. Oh, I just said stay out of the big cities. If you're in Vegas, you might not want to be there. What have those galactic federations factions been up to? Do you know anything about any of them?
oh, you're talking about the Lena Denons?
Not really. I don't know. Not necessarily.
Are you talking about the real? And I don't call it. They don't call it Federation, so it's a very 3D name. So
yeah,
I
don't even like that name.
I would definitely say the Galactic Council is in process and above us.
And who's on that Galactic Council?
Well, I would tell you how to explain this to you. And they say in several origins, in several regions. So I want you to understand a universe that comes together as a humanity and working together as one. So there's not like, yeah, there are humans, but there are many and different beings coming and working, and each one brings an ability of understanding. And their whole process together is to work together and make things better. They don't want this to ever happen again, to what our planet went through and the innocence. That is, it doesn't matter, human, whatever species it is, alien or whatever. It's in any version of humanity. You don't want that to happen. I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, we're coming up on an hour and 33 minutes. So I think we might want to give it a wrap, and we'll do this again in a couple of weeks.
Well, if they want to see my predictions and stuff like that, they can go to the Patreon channel, and that's on my website. And look me up on there, or Instagram has a lot of my predictions on there too. Documentation follows the verification.
Okay. I have a Patreon channel too, and it helps us support this channel so that I can bring people like Jenny to the table and many others as well. So if you're able to help support the program, it's always appreciated very much. So
yep. This week's going to be a bumpy ride. So you're not going to know what reality is and what is. Sit back behind a plated glass and go, you know what? I'm okay. I'm just going to stay behind here for a while.
I just find it extremely valuable to go out into nature. That's what helps me.
Yeah, it works very well.
Yes.
It works. So stay off the TV.
I don't even have one. So, but I got a computer and I'm in front of that a lot. I have to say. So whether that's good or not, it's not, but that's why I like getting out in nature. So anyway, let's call this a wrap, Jenny. Thank you so much for your time and energy, and your website is listed in the description, and you can get whatever information and find out about Jenny's classes or readings and all that at her website.
Exactly.
And it's a great website. I wish I had one like that. But anyway, it's all good. And thank you for listening. And thank you. And we'll be back again probably in a couple of weeks.
Stay in the light.
Definitely stay in the light.
In the light.
Okay.
It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers, stronger than ever. Never say never. Don't look back now, don't look back now. Rise up, stand with each other. We are sisters and brothers, finding our place and running the race. We'll take our chance and seize the moment. Hold on tight and don't let go of all your hopes and dreams that light the way. We control our fate. Destiny awaits. We are all the actors in the stories we create. Hope will be our guide. We'll no longer hide. When we roll like thunder, feel the wonder from inside. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely